Hello everyone, and welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is The Sound Downstairs. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Now, let's get to this nightmare. I lived in a normal 2-story house with an attic and a basement. My house was located in the outskirts of Kansas in a small town. We were probably about 500 people in my town. Everyone knew everyone. My house was probably 500 meters away from my neighbor's house, so I was well isolated from any noise and disturbance. It was a normal evening. I was upstairs in my room. I was watching YouTube while snapping with my friends. I was 27 at the time, so I wasn't living with my parents anymore. My girlfriend was on a trip with her parents, so I was home all alone. I usually loved being home alone, but if it was too long, I would of course start to miss my girlfriend. Needless to say, she was only gone for the week, so I had a couple days alone. I heard a silent sound from downstairs, but I didn't think much of it. It was normal. We had a fridge, dishwasher, and other noisy stuff down there. The clock was passing midnight as I started to feel the tiredness get to me. I got up to my window, took a quick look around before shutting the blinds. I headed out to my bathroom to brush my teeth and prepare for bed. After doing everything I needed to do, I went downstairs to turn off the lights before heading back up to my room. I texted my friends and girlfriend goodnight and went to sleep. I woke up at 3 a.m. It was a bloody nightmare. Sweat was dripping down from my forehead, so I grabbed the water bottle from my nightstand and relieved my thirst. As I placed the water down, I heard a squeaking sound from downstairs. I was used to sounds, but this was different. It was a very odd sound, a sound that I hadn't heard before. I tried to ignore it, but it would come in 2-minute intervals. As much as I didn't want to, I knew that I had to investigate. I grabbed a gun from my closet. It wasn't unusual to own guns in my area. Needless to say, I slowly, step for step, moved downstairs. I was trying to be quiet, but my steps felt abnormally loud. The squeaking sound got louder and louder until it felt as if it was right in front of me. The sound stopped out of thin air. I almost flinched in shock. I was convinced that someone made that sound, or something. I made sure to check behind me. Maybe I had been tricked by the placement of the sound. It was all clear. I started wondering if it was just something that I made up. Maybe it was just some dishes inside the dishwasher that had been misplaced. I checked several rooms. I had my gun pointed ahead of me. I wasn't scared of taking action if I had to. A silence-breaking sound went off in another room of my house. This time, it wasn't squeaky. It was more of a tapping, knocking sound. My heart was pounding like crazy. My blood was curdling like crazy. It was as if I was preparing to die. I had my finger on the trigger. As I approached the room the sound came from. Surprisingly enough, it wasn't coming from the basement, but it still felt as if it was a scene from a horror movie. Needless to say, as I got to the door, the knocking sound turned into footsteps. My stomach was fighting to keep down my puke. I grabbed around the door handle. I was preparing mentally to burst into the room and open fire. Lightheaded, I made a little prayer inside my head and got ready. I burst into the room and see a dirty old man. He was only wearing underpants, and to add to that horror feeling, yes, he was covered in blood. It was around his mouth. I shouted, "Get the hell down and don't move a muscle." He didn't do as I said. That scared the crap out of me. He did the opposite. He started moving towards me, slowly. I opened fire and shot him 3 times in the chest. He collapsed to the ground, lifelessly. After a few seconds in shock, I put a finger to his throat to confirm that he had died. The silence got interrupted by an invariably strong smell. Still, the worst smell I have ever experienced to this day. I tried to figure out what it was as I realized it was coming from one of the cabinets inside of the room. Without any second thoughts, I pulled the cabinet open. I screamed as I saw my girlfriend's decapitated head fall out of the cabinet. I looked over at the dead man to discover that he was gone. At the exact spot his corpse had been, there was a hand. You could see bite marks in it. That crazy bastard had eaten my girlfriend. I quickly locked myself inside the room and called 911. Around 10 minutes later, the cops arrived. I told them everything. They sent a whole team out in the woods with dogs and a lot of equipment in hope of finding the man. The man that I had killed, or had I? Today I live in downtown Atlanta. He's out there somewhere. I get nightmares frequently, and I never sleep alone. I don't like low-populated towns. I usually stick to the populated areas. I'm getting treatment, but sometimes I still see him in the corner of my bedroom. I know, it's my mind messing with me. Or is it?